All right. Um, what's going on, y'all? What's going on, Carl? What's going on, everybody? Um, so I wanted to jump on here real quick, man, and just kind of talk a little bit about everything that we see that's going on. About everything that we see that's going on here with this Shannon Sharp mess, man. When I tell y'all this Shannon Sharp thing is an absolute mess, bro. This thing is an absolute mess, man. But I mean, when I look at what's up, cuz when I look at Shannon Sharp, right? When I look at, I mean, here's one of the things that I have to understand about Shannon Sharp is that number one, he's way bigger now than when he was a Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos, way bigger now than he was when he was a Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. His star status has completely elevated since he got into daytime TV, first starting off at Undisputed with Skip Bayless and then going into First Take with Stephen A. Smith and even going into his nightcap show and Club Shay Shay. I mean, we've seen all of the amazing interviews that Shannon Sharp has done over the years. From the Cat Williams interview, but from the Monique interview, from the more recent Damon Wayans interview, from the Just Hilarious interviews. I mean, we've seen Shannon Sharp just completely elevate his cachet and his name. And this is one of the things that I want to tell all, like, if I have to encourage young men, if I have to use this story to encourage young men to be better, to be smarter. I mean, if you think about the man, the successful man, what have we seen is probably the biggest downfall for men as it relates to their success. One of the biggest downfalls for men as it relates to their success is thinking with the wrong head. And I'm not talking about this one. This is the one you should be thinking with. But a lot of times that is not the head that we end up thinking with. We end up thinking with the wrong head. We get into these different, we have these different sexual desires. And when you're the man on top, everybody wants a piece of the man on top, right? And so you start getting that, you start feeling those different things, you start feeling yourself a little bit, and then what you do is you find yourself sliding into these DMs, these women that's after you that you didn't think that maybe you could get in the past, and you start sniffing and smelling and feeling yourself. When we was young boys, I think our parents used to say, oh, they starting to drop, right? They starting to drop. And that's one of the things, and I'm not saying that that's the situation, but what I am saying is that when you get to a certain level of success, you start to feel that success, and sometimes you start to feel a little bit untouchable. Not saying that you feel a little bit untouchable, that Shannon Sharp felt untouchable, but he's got to get to the point, or we as men have to get to the point where we are able to control our sexual desires, and we're able to control, because in every situation you're always going to be the bigger person, and you got way more to lose. You got way too more to lose. That's why I don't argue with people. I don't try to fight back with people. I don't try to do anything, because I know in every situation I have way more to lose. If nothing else, I know I could lose these degrees that I have, and I've spent over $100,000 in degree money. I know I could lose these degrees that I have, and they could be rendered completely useless. They could be rendered completely useless if I go and I do something stupid, because now I can't even work in the field that I'm designed to work in, which is the social work field. So if I do anything illegal, if I do anything that could, get a reputation on my record, I now can't even work in the field that I have 2 degrees in, that I'm about to pursue my doctoral, my PhD in. I can't even use those degrees. And so what he has to understand is that, number one, can't react. You can't react the same. I know we call it a cliche, and we hate that Michelle Obama said it. A lot of us, when they go low, we go high. Yeah, when they go low, we go high. But sometimes the reason why you got to go high is because you got way more to lose. You can't react and respond the same way that everybody else does. Think about all of the money that he said that he lost just from accidentally putting out the sex tape. Think about all of the money that he lost just from accidentally putting out the sex tape. I mean, we get like, he said he lost millions of dollars and the biggest podcast interview that he would have had to date if he would not have lost, if he would, that Instagram live would not have happened. If that Instagram live would not have happened. When I look at this situation as a whole, and I wanted to make sure that everything came out, and obviously everything isn't out right now, but I wanted to make sure enough was out for me to speak on this with an informed mind. But I'm looking at the situation and I'm saying this is why you should be married. Basically, he got complacent. I don't know how the situation was, and I listened to you. I believe you are trying to inform people of complacency. Hey, absolutely, and also I'm trying to inform young men of this is why you need to be married. This is why you need to be in a committed relationship. This is why somebody posted it underneath. I think one of the shade room posts, and they said Ocho Cinco told Shannon Sharp to get him a God fearing woman, and Shannon Sharp said, "I don't want no God fearing woman. I want a sinner." Well, this is what you get when you get a sinner. You're gonna get somebody that's taking your money. You're not gonna be aware that there's a camera recording you, and you're not playing the game on your field. You start playing the game on their field. You don't know that they're recording you. So all of this stuff that you're saying is super wild, and we're listening to these recordings saying that you deserve to be choked. Listen, this is why you need to be married, men. This is why you need to be committed. This is why you need to be a solo man and be committed to a woman. And I'm so happy that I was able to find my wife before I achieved a certain level of success. And I'm not even saying I'm there, because I'm nowhere near where Shannon Sharp is. I mean, let's not get it twisted. I'm nowhere near where he is, but I'm so happy that I was conscious enough to say that before I continue to ascend to this millionaire status, or quarter million, you know what I'm saying, half million, $750,000 status, before I start getting the public recognition, I want to find my wife now, because I want to be solid and I want to be in my relationship 100%, so that I can know that this won't be something that'll mess me up. I'll tell you guys a story. Eric Thomas tells this story all of the time, and this is one of the reasons why I did what Eric Thomas asked his right hand man to do early on in Eric Thomas's career. He told his right hand man, who I believe CJ was 21 at the time. He said, "CJ, I need you to give up sex for a year." And CJ's like, "Yo, what? What? You want me to give up sex for you?" He's like, "Bro, I just turned 21 and I just bought the new whip. How you want me to give up sex for the year?" Listen, you 21 years old, you fresh out of college, just graduated, you know what I'm saying? You hit the bow on him, and now you want me to give up sex for the year? I just bought the new whip. How you want me to give it up for a year? What's happening? He said, because there's going to come a point in time where we're going to be on a level that is so great that you're going to be challenged as a man sexually. And if you can't control your sexual desires, I'm afraid that you might risk everything that we've worked so hard to build. And you can see that with Shannon Sharp. Not saying that it's all over for him, but a lot of what he's built is now at risk because of sex. If you look at the Kevin Hart situation, what was one of Kevin Hart's biggest downfalls? It was the cheating. It was the cheating scandal. He got recorded, same way Shannon Sharp did. How much did they ask for from Kevin Hart? If you go back and look at that situation, they asked for 10 million from Kevin Hart. How much was Shannon Sharp willing to settle for? 10 million. So y'all telling me that that sex is worth $10 million for you, and now she's suing you for $50 million? Eric Thomas was saying to his right hand at that time, from listening to the speech, it's not about sex. What I'm saying to you is it's about a level of discipline that I need you to have, because when you go to these other countries, they using you. They're going to try to use you as a meal ticket. When you go to these other countries, after you've done your work, they're gonna say, "Hey, yo, you trying to go out with us? You trying to have a good time? You got to be man enough and stand on your principles and your values enough to say, yeah, nah, I'm good." It's easier to do that when you got a wife. Now, granted, you can still cheat. Let's not act like cheating is not a part of life. Let's not act like cheating isn't a part of society. But when you remember, like when I think about my wife, the one thing that I'm thinking about every single day is no one is worth losing what me and my wife have built. No one is worth losing what me and my wife has built. And for women, I think it might be a little different because I think my wife would say no one is worth losing the love that we have, right? My wife is thinking about the love that we have. I'm more or less thinking about what it is that we built because she's from the heart, I'm from the head, right? From the head to the heart, right? This is where I live, this is where she lives. And so we got to think about that. But every single day, even with this being said, every single day as a man, every single day as a man, and I think any man that is in a committed relationship, that is in a marriage, can 100% attest to this. Every single day, that man has to wake up every single day and choose his wife every single day and win that battle because there's opportunity out there. There's opportunity out there. But if you haven't done what ET has instructed his right hand man to do, which is essentially give up sex for you, if you haven't created this level of discipline, then you won't be able to be successful in those moments. And that's okay too, because here's one of the things that I say. I say, don't if you know you're bad at making a decision, why even put yourself in a position to have to make that decision? There's certain situations that I'm not even going to put myself in because I don't know. I believe I'm strong enough to make this decision, but I don't know. I believe I'm strong enough to make this decision, y'all. But sometimes I don't know. I might, if I get a little too much, I don't know. But I'm not even going to put myself in position to have to make that decision. That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to put ourselves. We're not going to play the fool and put ourselves in a position where we have to make a decision where we know we might not even. I'm not going to go out and start drinking around and around clubs and atmospheres and environments where I could potentially be taken advantage of. I can see where this can go. I'm looking at a couple. I'm looking a play ahead, right? If we talking about athletics, I'm looking up and thinking of play ahead where I can say to myself, yeah, nah, this isn't a situation that I want to put myself in. You got to have the ability to foreshadow what could go wrong in this situation. And I have the ability to foreshadow what could be wrong. When I listened to Eric Thomas say this, that was one of the things that I did was I told myself, I said, I'm not going to do a year, but I need to do a 6-month journey. At least I need to do a 6-month journey. And I just need to give up sex for 6 months. And this is right around the time where I came back into the DMV area. Backpack Jeff really started to blow up and take off. My name was, really really heavy in the DMV area, and people were just learning about me. I was new, I was fresh, and so people are, who's Backpack Jeff? Who's this dude Backpack Jeff? Who's this dude Backpack Jeff? And I'm going out to poetry events, and here's one of the biggest challenges when you're a poet, when you can do love poetry, when you can do erotic poetry. Here's one of the biggest things that you have to do. You got to humble yourself as a poet. You got to humble yourself as a poet because you have to discern that after you get off stage, when a woman sends you a DM and she says, "Oh my gosh, that poetry was so amazing. You absolutely touched my heart. I just loved everything about what you did. Like I really, really felt that. You're so amazing." You've got to determine if she's enjoying your poetry or she's sending you an invitation to shoot your shot. Because how do you know? How do you know if this isn't like a, hey, I loved your stuff. I want you to, you know what I'm saying? I'm over here telling you this for a reason because I want you to shoot your shot. Or she's just out because she's enjoying the poetry. How do you know which one she's doing? You got to humble yourself. You got to say to yourself, if and look, I'll tell you this. When I was going out regularly, I mean, I would miss it. And some of my homegirls, they'd be like, Backpack, she was flirting with you. I'm like, she was? Dang, because I turned that lens off. of I'm just going to assume that nobody is flirting with me unless you come to me and you say, "Hey, psst, I'm flirting with you." Unless you come to me deliberately and tell me that you're flirting with me, I'm just going to assume that you're not flirting with me. Because I don't want to assume that you are flirting with me and then you not be flirting with me and you not want me to take my shoot my shot and then you going around saying, dang, that dang backpack, he can't even take a compliment. He think everybody want to get with him and everybody flirting with him just because they tell him how nice his poetry is. I didn't want that situation to happen. So I gave it up. I said for 6 months, I'm gonna give up sex because I want to make sure that I control my sexual desires and that my sexual desires do not control me. And I think that is something that we should take into consideration with anything that we have in our life. If you smoke hookah a lot, does the hookah control you or do you control the hookah? If you smoke weed a lot, does the weed control you or do you control the weed? If you drink a lot, does the alcohol control you or do you control the alcohol? You gotta be able to say, I control this thing. This thing doesn't control me. Even more so with your emotions. Do you control your emotions or do your emotions control you? How you feel about that? Do you control your emotions or do your emotions control you? Some people will look at it and some people's emotions control them 100%. Some people's emotions control them 100%, y'all. So can you give up a thing you love and a thing you desire to ensure that you have control over that thing? And I look at this situation with Shannon Sharp and I say to myself, number one, I looked at my wife and I told her, I said, babe, I'm glad that we got married. I'm glad that we got married because this is a situation that I can avoid completely simply because we're married. Simply because I love for you. I'm sorry, simply because my love for you, I love you, and this is one of the benefits of being in a committed relationship because now I'm not searching, I'm not looking for something. There is an anticipation of what could happen. I remember when I used to go out and I was single, and I would always stick around just for a little bit longer because there was always the possibility of me talking to somebody. I would always stick around just a little bit longer because there was a possibility of me talking to somebody. Of hold on, wait, this girl just sent me a DM after I got off stage. Let me see if she want to meet and I can introduce myself and maybe I can talk to her and maybe I can get her number. Let me see, let me take the temperature. So I got to respond back in a way so that I can take the temperature of what her response was. And then once I take the temperature, then I can determine as to whether or not I should go over and introduce myself or how I should introduce myself. And I've got to do this with like 15 women because, they post you in their story and they mention you. And then it's like, okay, you trying to figure out. And so now I'm sticking around a little bit longer after the nights. Instead of going home at 10 o'clock when the show is over, I'm going home at 11 o'clock, 11:30 when the show is over. Now I don't do that no more. I go out, I perform. If I do stick around, I'm sticking around because I'm talking to the homies. I'm dapping up people. I'm saying what's up to people that I ain't seen in a while. I'm paying my love. I'm paying my respect. I'm doing all of those things. I'm not out looking for something that I shouldn't be looking for because no one is worth losing what me and my wife have built. And as I look at what Shannon Sharp is doing, at what's happening to Shannon Sharp, this is what I see a lot of men get into, and why I see a lot of men with a downfall is because sexual desires. Sexual desires becomes the downfall, and we've seen it many, many times, right? I mean, the whole Diddy thing, sexual desires. The whole R. Kelly thing, sexual desires. The whole Jay-Z, right? Becky with the good hair, sexual desires. You know what I'm saying? Eric Benet, how he lost Holly Berry. Never go Eric Benet. How you almost let the best thing in the world get away? How you never go Eric Benet? How did it happen? Sexual desires, man. Sexual desires. We as men, we got to be able to control our sexual desires and not allow our sexual desires to control us. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't make it 6 months. I made it 3 months. I didn't make it 6 months because I had found someone at that time who I wanted to be committed to and who wanted to be committed to me. And, it didn't last the whole time. But still during those 3 months, I was able to gain clarity. Still in my marriage, I now have clarity and confidence in my marriage, in my relationship, in the things that I do on a daily basis, in the decision making. When you don't have that clarity, sometimes you start thinking with the wrong head, and you start listening to the person on the wrong shoulder. You start listening to the person on the wrong shoulder. Don't start listening to the person on the wrong shoulder. And the best way to do that is to discipline yourself early on so that you don't find yourself in these situations. And what my hope is that Shannon Sharp gets through this, because I hate to see, what he's done be taken away from him. Even though these are serious allegations. And if these things are true, then obviously there are consequences that and consequences that must be had and must take place. And obviously I'm 100% fine with that. I don't have a say in that anyway. But if these things are true, I'm sure that will happen. But what my hope is that he is completely innocent and that he has an opportunity to, continue his career, because I watched Shannon Sharp back in 2016 when he first got to Undisputed. And man, the way he just, took over that show. And honestly, I stopped watching First Take and started watching Undisputed once I saw Shannon Sharp was on there, because he was funny. I started seeing clips, and then I started watching Undisputed because mostly for Shannon Sharp. I didn't care anything about what Skip Bayless had to say. And even the fact during that time, I didn't care anything about what Stephen A. Smith had to say. I really didn't care about what Stephen A. Smith had to say over on First Take until Shannon Sharp got there. And then I started listening, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll listen to it. But I only watch First Take on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's literally it. That's because those are the days where Shannon Sharp is there. And I want to say finally, as I kind of wrap this up, is men, men, like a lot of these things can be avoided when you have your person. When you have your person, when you have that love, when you have that commitment, a lot of these things can be avoided if you have that person in your life. Control your sexual desires. Do not allow your sexual urges to control you. Control your emotions. Do not allow your emotions to control you. Everything that happens in your life, you are 100% in control of. No one is in control of those things except for you. I wanted to jump on here, deliver a quick message to each one of y'all, man. I want to say thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. It's your favorite cousin Backpack, man. I see you at the family reunion.